A free agent has signed with WWE. Huge WrestleMania records have been broken at WrestleMania 40, a big change to an upcoming AEW pay-per-view, and more. I'm Pete Quinnell, and this is the WrestleTalk News.
Support WrestleTalk!
This week of WrestleTalk content is sponsored by Wrestling Masterclass. Check it out at WrestlingMasterclass.com. We start the news today with an incredible story of two long-lost friends reuniting after years apart. I'm of course talking about Hulk Hogan and Bam Margera after one of my favorite tweet exchanges of all time in 2018, where Hulk Hogan thought Bam was dead, but Bam corrected him and said they should hang out. And now they have, 6 years later, with the two reuniting at Hogan's Hangout. Now that is long-term storytelling, brother. Anyway, this past weekend was WrestleMania 40 weekend that not only saw WrestleMania 40 itself, but NXT Stand and Deliver, which saw Trick Williams best Carmelo Hayes, Ilya Dragunov retain his NXT Championship, but perhaps most intriguingly, hot free agent Julia was shown in the crowd, sitting alongside Rossy Ogawa and William Regal. Julia has long been rumored to be departing her home promotion of Stardom, with various reports and rumors pointing to her potentially joining the new promotion run by Rossy Ogawa, the former co-founder and executive producer of Stardom, as well as joining either WWE or AEW. Julia being shown in the crowd at Stand and Deliver would indicate to many that she's made up her mind about where she's heading, and you'd be right, because a new report from Fightful Select indicates that Julia has in fact agreed to sign with WWE. Julia will reportedly be finishing out her remaining dates, which includes some in Rossy Ogawa's yet-to-be-announced new promotion. Julia reportedly did not seek an agent during these negotiations. William Regal is reported to have played a big role in the negotiations, with Rossy Ogawa also being a factor in Julia's signing with WWE. She could reportedly start at any time in NXT, as Ogawa tweeted to say that he was returning to Japan alone, with Julia remaining in the USA. With her appearance at Stand and Deliver itself, Julia was reportedly rushed to her seat under a cloak, and was said to have been overwhelmed by the positive response from the crowd. Another interesting note is that Julia was reportedly in attendance at WrestleMania 40 as well, and was wearing credentials clearly marked performer. But it of course isn't just one signing that's got WWE on the rise right now, as WrestleMania 40 has gone down as one of the more popular WrestleManias of all time, with Bayley getting her moment, Damian Priest cashing in, Sami Zayn dethroning Gunther, and Cody Rhodes finishing his story. But it's not just popular, as WrestleMania 40 is now officially the most financially successful WrestleMania of all time. WWE issued a press release outlining all the records that were broken over WrestleMania weekend, and it's quite a few. But before I talk about them all, here's a quick word from this video's sponsor.
Ever dreamt of breaking into the professional wrestling business as a wrestler, promoter, booker, commentator, referee, journalist, podcaster, YouTube star, or another key role? Wrestling Masterclass is a historic online course featuring over 70 HD video lessons, podcasts, and seminars with some of the world's top wrestling experts, both in the ring and behind the scenes, including Will Ospreay, Raven, Dutch Mantell, Doug Williams, Mike Chioda, and so many more. Start your journey today at WrestlingMasterclass.com.
So here's all the records in big numbers WWE pulled for WrestleMania weekend. The WrestleMania 40 gate broke the record held by the previous year's Mania by 78%, with 145,298 in attendance, which means it was probably closer to 100,000 if WWE standards of old are still true, but it is a new era after all, so maybe these numbers are true. The viewership for the show was also up by 41% across both nights, again breaking the record held by WrestleMania 39. WWE World, the fan event running across the weekend, is the highest grossing and most attended fan event in WWE history. WrestleMania 40 was the most socially viewed in WWE history too, with WWE experiencing their highest viewership in one day on Sunday on their YouTube channel, topping over 67 million views in 24 hours. The SmackDown before WrestleMania had the largest gate in SmackDown history. The Raw after Mania, drew the largest gate in Raw history, with the big Titantron being scaled back and the entrance being made smaller to make room for more fans. Even Stand and Deliver had the most audience for an NXT event in history, with over 16,000 fans in attendance. And in terms of merchandise, sales were up by 20%, breaking the previous record, which was once again held by WrestleMania 39. And a large portion of that might have been made up solely of merchandise relating to Cody Rhodes, as according to Fightful Select, WWE sent out an internal memo noting that Cody's merch sales alone topped over $1 million, breaking his own record that he made last year. And as some fun bits of trivia, Roman Reigns became the first person to headline back-to-back nights of WrestleMania, as well as breaking the all-time record of WrestleMania main events, with 9, including both nights of WrestleMania 40 as 2 main events. The Rock also became the second wrestler ever to headline a WrestleMania in 4 separate decades, the 90s, 2000s, 2010s, and 2020s, being only second to The Undertaker, whose Boneyard match at WrestleMania 36 in 2020 originally crowned him with that honor. So it's safe to say that WrestleMania 40 was something of a success. At the end of the show, with Cody Rhodes celebrating in the ring, he called out Bruce Pritchard and Triple H, and according to Fightful Select, this was not expected from Bruce or Trips, and this would have been something that would have been shut down immediately under the Vince era, as he would have hated it, but Bruce and Triple H obliged. New era and all that. And in case some were curious and, like me, thought for a split second that Dean Ambrose could be returning to WWE when the Shield's music hit in that main event, Tony Khan confirmed in an interview with comicbook.com that no, WWE did not reach out to AEW to ask about a Jon Moxley appearance at WrestleMania. Would have been cool though, wouldn't it? But now, with WrestleMania 40 in the books, it's time to announce the winners for Wrestle League, the spring season of 2024. And here they are. In third place with 67 points, it's Jonathan Hedman. In second place with 68 points, it's Ahmed Anta. And with 70 points, your champion, Paul Dagos. The summer season 2024 of Wrestle League will kick off with AEW Dynasty, so make sure you join at WrestleTalk.com/league to get email notifications about when you can put those predictions in. Sign up to Wrestle League today. On the subject of AEW, they've got their own big shows coming up soon, with AEW Dynasty being just a couple of weeks away. Looking ahead though, Forbidden Door 3 is reportedly penciled in for June, and previous reports had mentioned that it was due to emanate from the Arthur Ashe Stadium in New York. The first Forbidden Door took place in the United Center in Chicago, while last year's event was in the Scotiabank Arena in Toronto. However, according to Andrew Zarian, who originally reported about the plans for Arthur Ashe, that is no longer the plan. There reportedly is more news coming about this in about a week. Fightful Select then reported that the reason for this change is because New Japan Pro Wrestling, whom AEW shared the Forbidden Door event with, did not want to split the production costs of running the bigger venue. But Rocky Romero, a key figure in the AEW and New Japan relationship, denied that report, tweeting to say this is not true, and in another tweet said, "The New Japan x AEW relationship is stronger than ever. Don't be fooled by any false narratives." Meanwhile, the power dynamic and ownership of WWE continues to shift, as in the last 6 months, Vince McMahon has sold the majority of his TKO stock. In the latest of many SEC filings, Vince McMahon sold even more stock, selling $165 million worth of shares to TKO and $146.2 million worth of shares to Endeavor. Brandon Thurston of WrestleNomics has now estimated that Vince McMahon, with his remaining stock, owns around 4.7% of TKO, with around 8 million shares remaining. As WWE continues to distance themselves from Vince McMahon, it seems Vince is distancing himself from the company too. And so if he keeps it up with this rate, it won't be long before Vince has no stake in the company at all. While Vince is selling though, The Rock is gaining, as according to, wouldn't you know it, another SEC filing, Dwayne Johnson was given 96,558 shares of TKO stock on April 7th, due to completion of certain services described in his WWE contract. According to Brandon Thurston, these shares have a current value of $9.41 million. Not a bad little bonus for a WrestleMania main event. Moving back to NXT though, we're all over the place today. There's been some unfortunate news coming out of Stand and Deliver, where in the North American title triple threat between Obafemi Dijak and Josh Briggs, Briggs reportedly suffered 2 cracked ribs, as was announced on NXT last night. There is no word currently on when Briggs is expected back in NXT, and WrestleTalk would like to wish Josh Briggs a speedy recovery. Elsewhere on last night's episode of NXT though, Trick Williams was offered another NXT championship shot, with the stipulation that if he loses, he has to leave NXT, which could be the swan song for the champ Ilya Dragunov, or Trick Williams, or both. And the NXT tag titles also changed hands, with Bron Breakker and Baron Corbin dropping the straps to Nathan Frazier and Axiom, which very much could be the swan song for Breakker in NXT, even more so when you consider what happened after the show went off the air. According to fans in attendance, Bron and Corbin came back out to the ring, with Bron thanking the fans, Corbin and other NXT personnel, and Corbin mentioning that Bron will be heading to SmackDown, which makes sense considering he signed with SmackDown a few weeks ago. There is also a draft coming soon though, so we could maybe see them change brands or have a reunion on the main roster before long. As for the new NXT Tag Champs, they were immediately attacked by the Authors of Pain and the rest of the Final Testament, so it looks like we know what their next feud will be. On the Raw after Mania, Luke's terminology's getting to me, there were teasers and hints of a few upcoming things. Not only did we get the debuts of Ilya Dragunov and Roxanne Perez along with the announcement of the draft, but we also got a tease for Uncle Howdy and a vignette about the impending return of Sheamus, who's been out since August last year due to a shoulder injury. His last match was against Edge on the August 18th episode in Edge's final WWE match. According to Fightful Select, it's possible that Sheamus won't make his return to WWE until the week of the draft, or at least won't have a defined brand until then. I wonder if they'll run back Sheamus versus Gunther just without the title this time, which actually sort of defeats the point as it was all about the title last time, but maybe this time it's personal, and then Sheamus can go after the IC title after that. Who knows? What do you want to see Sheamus do once he's back? Let me know in the comments. And while you're down there commenting, click the link for WrestlingMasterclass.com and check out more Raw After Mania content by checking out the podcast review with Luke and Dan later. You can also click the video on screen now.